Welcome back to Life Coach 180 with yours truly, Ben Lopez, aka DJ Lopez. And today we're going to be talking about the 7 principles of vision, seeing beyond sight. Have you ever looked at the same situation as someone else but saw something completely different? See, vision isn't just about what meets the eye, it's about how you interpret what you see. To people, you can face the same challenge. One sees defeat and the other sees opportunity. One sees obstacles and the other sees possibilities. So here's a question. What do you see? The difference between sight and vision is purpose. Sight is passive. It observes. But vision, on the other hand, is active. It interprets. It believes. It acts. Many people live life reacting to what's in front of them, avoiding obstacles without ever asking why they're moving in a certain direction. But those who have true vision don't just navigate life, they shape it. In this exploration or lesson, we're going to be looking at 7 principles of vision. We're going to dive into a powerful example from Caleb from the Bible, Joshua, Nehemiah, and others who saw beyond their circumstances to fulfill a greater purpose. Their stories will challenge you to look beyond the giants in your life, to see through the lens of faith, and to move forward with unwavering determination. Are you ready to adjust? Go ahead and adjust those lenses and embrace them. Let's go. You see, vision requires purpose beyond sight. Is there purpose in what you see, or do you merely look at life to avoid obstacles? Vision requires purpose beyond sight. Many people go through life simply reacting to what they see, avoiding obstacles without ever asking why they're moving in that certain direction. True vision, however, is intentional. It seeks meaning beyond the immediate and strives for a greater purpose. When we look at life only to dodge difficulties, we become passive observers rather than active participants in our destiny. See, purpose-driven vision compels us to see beyond circumstances, guiding our steps with faith and determination. As Proverbs 29:18 says, it reminds us this: where there's no vision, the people perish. Without a deeper purpose, our sight is limited, but when we align ourselves to what we see with a higher calling, we again have clarity, direction, and fulfillment. Let's look at Caleb and Joshua. This is a great example of seeing purpose without beyond that sight that can limit us. And this is Numbers 13 through 14, the chapters. When Moses sent 12 spies to scout the promised land, 10 of them returned with fearful reports, seeing only the obstacles and giants, fortified cities, and strong enemies. They reacted to what they saw and spread fear among the Israelites, causing them to doubt God's promises. However, Caleb and Joshua saw the same land, but with a different vision. Instead of focusing on the difficulties, they saw God's promises and purpose. They urged the people to trust God and move forward, believing that they were destined to take the land. So here's our connection. Caleb and Joshua exemplified vision beyond sight. While others merely observed and reacted out of fear, these 2 men saw with faith and purpose. They understood that God's promises was bigger than the obstacles before them. Their trust in God's vision ultimately led them into the promised land, while those who lacked vision perished in the wilderness. So today, how can we apply this story? Let's kind of unpack this part of it. So do you find yourself focusing on the difficulty or the promise that God will get you through? Can you see your promised land or only the giants that stand before your dream? If you struggle with the latter, it's time to adjust your lenses. The story of Nehemiah reinforces seeing purpose without sight, rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem. And we're going to now look at this story and see how that relates to us. Nehemiah was a cupbearer to the king of Persia when he heard about the broken walls of Jerusalem. Many people had seen the destruction before, but they only reacted with grief or resignation. However, Nehemiah saw beyond the ruins. He saw a purpose instead of merely acknowledging the problem. He acted seeking the king's permission to rebuild the walls. Despite opposition and threats and discouragement, Nehemiah pressed forward because his vision was driven by a greater purpose: to restore God's city and protect his people. Here's our connection. Nehemiah didn't see the broken walls. He saw the mission to restore them. He didn't avoid the obstacles, but confronted them with faith and determination. His vision gave him direction, and through perseverance, he completed the task despite immense opposition. His leadership demonstrated that true vision goes beyond sight. It seeks meaning and purpose. Today, I encourage you to see beyond the broken walls of despair. Find the solution to the needs of the hurting through the eyes of Jesus. Allow obstacles to fuel your determination and grit. Keep moving forward. Listen, don't sweat the small stuff, the opposition of the haters, because the true leader that you are goes beyond sight to see true meaning and purpose with the heart. Let's summarize it. See, both Caleb and Joshua, as with Nehemiah, show that vision is more than just seeing. It's believing in a higher calling and acting with faith. Those who merely react with obstacles remain stagnant, but those with visions move forward with purpose, overcoming challenges and fulfilling their destiny. So how do we lose our vision, our purpose? Observation without vision leads to wandering. So now we have another extreme. Seeing the world without guiding vision is like walking without a destination. A person may recognize opportunities, challenges, or beauty, but without clear sense of purpose, they lack direction in how to respond or where to go. Just as a traveler without a map may walk in a circle, life without vision can feel aimless and unfulfilled. I often think of Israel wandering the wilderness. Think about it, 40 years. Their destiny was set and calculated by God. Their voyage should have been one of joy and peace and direct. However, because of doubting and allowing the sight to be clouded by ungratefulness and lack of patience with God, they found themselves in a carousel of despair. King Saul is another story. He lost his vision and purpose. You can find this in Samuel 9 through 31. Saul started with great potential. He was chosen by God to be Israel's first king. He had a physical strength, leadership qualities, even divine favor at the beginning of his reign. However, despite having all those tools and success, Saul lacked vision and purpose. Instead of leading Israel with faith and conviction, he often reacted impulsively to situations without seeking God's direction. You see, when faced with battle against the Philistines, you can see this in 1 Samuel 13. What did he do? He panicked and disobeyed God by offering a sacrifice instead, rather than waiting for Samuel. When commanded to completely destroy the Amalekites, what did he do? He disobeyed by sparing King Agag and his livestock, showing a lack of spiritual insight and purpose-driven leadership. Here's another example. As David's success grew, Saul became consumed with jealousy, wasting his energy chasing David instead of fulfilling his kingly duties, connecting to wandering without vision. Saul saw the challenges before him. He saw the armies, the political threats. He saw David begin to rise, but he had no deeper vision to navigate them. His reign was marked by reaction rather than intention. He sought king to fix rather than divine wisdom. Instead of walking in purpose, Saul wandered in insecurity, fear, and disobedience, eventually losing his kingdom and, sadly, his life. Let's explore some of the vision killers. So let's go ahead and kind of revisit. You see, panic without trust leads to disobeying God. We would rather trust in ourselves than trust in God's plan. We react instead of being proactive by believing the promises of God. Here's another one. We hold on to things or people that God commands us to let go of. We tend to compare ourselves with others and become jealous by their success other than our achievements. We rush the process and find ourselves stumbling at smaller obstacles life throws at us. We would rather look for the outside source for direction instead of our mighty God for divine solutions. We tend to follow the path of insecurity, fear, and disobedience that will eventually wind up costing us everything. Saul had everything in front of him, opportunities, resources, and even direct guidance from God's prophet. Yet because he lacked vision, he made choices that led him to become unstable, aimless, and ultimately led to his downfall. Like a traveler without a map or a train that can connect with other cars to deliver the cargo, he drifted instead of advancing all on his own. See, David had purpose beyond sight because he always came back to God when his vision was blurred. David's successor had clear vision. He saw beyond the present circumstances and aligned his steps with God's purpose. That's why David, despite his imperfections, became a leader after God's own heart, while Saul perished as a cautionary tale of wasted potential. You see, let's look at it this way. People transform sight into actions when vision is tied to purpose. Observation gains meaning. A person with vision doesn't just see problems, they seek solutions. They don't just notice injustices, they work towards change because these changes, notice, become passive sights into active engagements, guiding a decision, inspiring action towards meaningful goals. One leader who embodies this idea of purpose transforming sight into action is Muhammad Yunus, the founder of Grameen Bank and the pioneer of microfinances. Here's a quick summary. I want you to kind of make that connection. In the 1970s, while teaching economics in Bangladesh, Muhammad Yunus observed that the extreme poverty around him. He realized that traditional banking systems failed to serve the poor, leaving them trapped in cycles of debt and financial instability. Rather than just seeing the problem, Yunus sought a solution. His vision was to provide small, collateral-free loans to impoverished individuals, particularly women, enabling them to start a business and lift themselves out of poverty. With a strong sense of purpose, he founded Grameen Bank, which revolutionized access to credit for the underserved. Despite skepticism from financial institutions, Yunus persevered, proving that lending to the poor was not only possible but also sustainable. His efforts empowered millions of people and transformed economic development strategies worldwide. For his impact, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2006. You see, Muhammad Yunus exemplified a vision of purpose beyond sight. Vision tied to purpose. Yunus didn't just see poverty, he envisioned a system where the poor could access financial resources. So here's some observations we can gain. He noticed the injustices of financial exclusion and translated that insight into a concrete, scalable solution. Here's an active engagement. Instead of merely discussing, he took action, challenging the status quo and creating a new financial model. So how does this inspire a meaningful challenge? His work transformed the lives of millions and reshaped the way the world thinks about poverty elevation. So let's go ahead and apply it to our lives. What do you hold in your hands that can contribute to helping others in society? What are several injustices that might cause you to move and act in order to make a difference? How important is it to be more about action than merely speaking about what you would like to do? What currently challenges you to make a difference with your time and your talents? You see, vision creates stability and resilience. Life is full of uncertainty, but those with vision remain steadfast because they see beyond temporary struggles. Without vision, difficulties may seem overwhelming and lead to despair. However, a clear sense of purpose helps people or individuals interpret challenges as part of a larger journey, fostering resilience and perseverance even in the face of adversity. Let's look at this individual in the Bible. This is Joseph's journey from the pit to the palace. Joseph, the son of Jacob, had a vision through dreams that he would one day rise to the position of great authority. However, his journey was filled with trials. His brothers betrayed him, and he was sold into slavery and later imprisoned unjustly. Despite these hardships, Joseph never lost sight of the purpose. He remained faithful. He used the wisdom to interpret dreams and ultimately became second in command in Egypt, saving countless lives during a famine. His vision gave him resilience, allowing him to endure suffering without losing hope. So here's the connection. Joseph saw beyond the temporary struggles and trusted that his challenges were part of a greater plan. His vision provided stability, preventing despair despite betrayals and setbacks. His perseverance led to powerful redemption, turning his pain into purpose. So how do we apply that? Are you able to see beyond your temporary struggle and believe it is part of a greater plan? What are you currently facing that can be used as a benefit in the future for others? How can having the right vision prevent despair and setbacks, avoiding shrinking back from God? How can you turn your pain into purpose? Here's another story that I want to look at, the stability of resilience. This is Moses' life now. It's a powerful testimony. His example of how vision creates stability and resilience. When God called him from the burning bush, Moses, he was hesitant, but he embraced the vision of leading the Israelites out of slavery in Egypt towards the promised land. The journey was filled with hardships. Pharaoh, he was resistant. The Red Sea, lack of food and water, constant complaints from the Israelites. Yet Moses remained steadfast because he saw beyond the immediate struggles. Even when he was personally attacked, he didn't waver. He saw the promised land. His leadership and faith ensured that the people reached their destination. So what's the connection? Moses' vision gave him perseverance, allowing him to face obstacles without losing faith. He remained stable despite external pressures, guiding the Israelites through uncertainty. His belief in the larger journey helped people endure, preventing them from being consumed by temporary hardship. How do we apply it? How can a renewed vision give you perseverance, allowing you to face obstacles without losing hope? What are some ways you can remain stable as you deal with external pressures? How can vision impact others to endure and find hope through your example? So let's recap. True vision goes beyond merely seeing. It involves purpose and intentionality. You see, many people look at life and react to obstacles, but vision requires a deeper interpretation and faith. The Bible teaches us that our words reflect our perception, and those with vision speak life and hope. Caleb and Joshua and Nehemiah exemplified this principle by seeing the past difficulties and focusing on God's promises. In contrast, Saul lost his way by reacting to fear rather than trusting God's plan. Vision requires stability, resilience, and action, as seen in the lives of Joseph and Moses, and even modern figures like Muhammad Yunus. When guided by purpose, vision transforms struggles into opportunities and ensures meaningful impact. If today you found value in this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss out. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below, and let's continue the conversations. See you on the next one, where we're changing for the good.